talking about the big house. I'm talking about the big house, right? In the news all over the place right now. Los Gatos, Mr. Flip It from the former HGTV show. What was it called again? Like Mr. Flip It and List It. I don't know. Anyways, they've got all these crazy names. Anyways, right? He, oh boy, caused a lot of havoc out there in investors' personal money funds. It's pretty scary when you start reading about everything that's happened. Back in 2013, he had a lot of stuff going on. And so he was just recently jailed for a real estate scam. Seems like Mr. What's his name again? Mr. Charles Todd Hill was ordered to pay back restitution for 9.4 million, 9.4 million to the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office. And that just recently happened. And look, the deal is he went on one of HGTV's big shows, so excited, back in 2014, so long ago. You probably aren't even watching it anymore because it's not airing. The reality is these people would come on, these investors would come on, they would find these great properties that were a disaster area, go in, renovate them, share the renovation, and put it back on the market and sell the property. So there's a lot of flippers out there that do this, and it makes them great money. And yet, you've got to make sure you've got to do the research, the due diligence around who am I in business with? What am I doing? And does this make great sense? And I'm going to say it sounds like Los Gatos was not the person to be in business with, right? This guy was taking all the money for these particular houses. He was saying, hey, Mr. Investor, give me 200K and I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And well, he would cook the books, they said, provide all this information, they said, and then they'd go out there and see the property and no work be done, or the work be done very, very poorly. Well, he was supposedly, oh my goodness, like living this lavish lifestyle all over town. It's really kind of just wrong, right? So the show was Flip It to Win It, right? And that was back in I think it's back in like 2013 or something like that. Anyways, at some point, his primary investor, who he had done quite a few transactions with, pay attention. He'd already done some transactions with this gentleman. Well, he finally said, hey, this doesn't make sense. Like, I'm giving you this money and I'm not seeing a return on my investment. So he finally took him to court. And well, things just continued to unfold. And so after about 4 or 5 years, now, guess what? He's been prosecuted and is going to the big house. And it's not a big house he wants to be in. That's just the reality of it. So what's most important about this story is that you want to protect yourself from real estate fraud as a consumer, right? You're out there, you're like, hey, maybe I want to flip a property. Maybe I just want to buy my first house. Maybe you want to do some renovations. And you're like, how do I do this without being taken advantage of? Could you imagine? Right? There's so many people out there. And I'll tell you, after almost 20 years in this business, I have met people who totally are on it, get it, and know how to validate things, and other people that they just don't know. And I'm a great person who really puts their needs first. Not only am I a good person, that's my fiduciary duty as your realtor. So look, guys, I'm going to give you 10 great tips on what can help you protect yourself when dealing with contractors, real estate professionals, all the above, investors, anyone you're talking with, you need to make sure you're paying attention to the details. And I don't know if you're like me, but man, the details are exhausting. So, first and foremost, right? Number one, conduct the thorough research. So, always research the property, the community, the area, all the people, all the moving parts. Make sure they're valid, they're good, they have great reviews, they have licenses, they have all the appropriate supporting items, I say, that need to make them uh, be the professional that's in the deal, right? That's part of the transaction, part of the renovation, whatever it be. And if they don't validate that information, say you're like, I don't want a licensed person because they just cost more money. That's the truth. When you hire someone who's licensed, they're going to cost more money because that person has to have E&O insurance or some type of insurance that protects them. So if anything happens, and that insurance also helps to protect you. So if you opt to go for the non-licensed person, know that you have additional exposure involved in that, right? So just do the thorough research so you understand. Ask all the questions and don't be embarrassed to ask the questions. Just ask them and ask them over and over and over again. That's natural. I'm used to it. As your real estate professional, you're going to ask me 500 times what one thing is. And I am totally cool with that because I get that you probably only done this once, and I have done this numerous times. So ask the questions. Make sure you are doing what is necessary, right? Okay, moving on to tip number 2. Let's verify licenses. What does that mean? Well, for example, my real estate license is California Department of Real Estate number 017941115. That's my number. I'm pretty positive. That is my number. It should be everywhere for you to see. Well, if you go to the Department of Real Estate page online, you can verify the details related to my license because the Department of Real Estate makes that super easy for you guys to do. So all you need to say is, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, Mr. or Mrs. Broker, can you give me your real estate license? I'd like to check to make sure it's valid. And if you have any complaints against you or anything that's happened during your time, and if you're just a licensed agent, who's your broker? For example, our licensed broker is Side, right? And you can find out all about them online. So always verify real estate licenses. Always verify contractors' licenses. Any professional that's in the transaction, verify it. Make sure the info is good and readily available. All right. Next comes the documents, right? You're going to review, you're going to get contracts, you're going to get this, and this. And I'm going to tell you, the thing that is my greatest concern is all of those documents that come to you for digital signatures or the lovely DocuSign we use. It has made life so convenient and so easy. It has made life just work. And guess what? Guess what ends up happening? You just don't read it, unfortunately. So please don't be that person. Read your DocuSigns, read the documents, the contracts, the paperwork that comes in your email. Make sure you look at it and then ask the questions. Hey, Lori, I didn't get this. Or, well, Lori, what about this? I mean, I just had one this morning. She called me and she said, Lori, I noticed in the documentation it said I had 3 days to do this. And she couldn't recall what it is. So she's getting back to me on it and she's going to let me know where she read that because I didn't see it in her documents. So it's a great conversation for her and I to have so that she clearly understands what's happening with regards to it, right? You want to get that information, understand it. Your whoever you're working with, your licensed professional should have the heart of a teacher. Oh my goodness. Of course, this one. Now look, here's a great example of this, right? So we say review your documents carefully, but as your realtor, I cannot get the details of your HOA documents if you happen to buy a property in an HOA, right? I cannot tell you what those documents state. I am not um, I'm not a real estate attorney. That's just the reality of it. And a real estate attorney can interpret and help you understand those type of documents. So make sure when you're reviewing the documents, if you need legal advice, when you need legal advice, you incorporate the real estate attorney. Real estate attorneys are not required here in Southern California when we purchase a property or sell a property. They can be incorporated, though, at an additional cost. And there's nothing wrong with asking them to be part of the transaction. They're worth it. If you feel you need that additional support, add them in. Anything that's going to allow for you to win and feel set up to succeed and understand what you're doing, just add it. It's worth the extra money. That's just the truth. So, you may need a real estate attorney when doing transactions, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Just add it, because the day goes quickly. Things happen quickly in real estate. I mean, you heard my phone ring a couple of times already. That's just what happens in real estate. People are making quick decisions. They're doing what they need to do to buy and sell real estate. And you want to make sure you have answered all the questions with the professional that is set up to help you, licensed and understands and can do what you're asking, right? So, number 4, get that independent legal advice. Review the documents. So remember, conduct your research, verify license, review documents carefully, and get the legal advice you feel you need, right? And know that all of this may cost money, likely will cost money, and it's worth the investment. Now, number 5, I think is so important. Beware of high pressure tactics. People are going to push you to make a decision. And well, okay, look, we all have to make a decision at some point on whether or not we want to do this. And sometimes it can be super, well, overwhelming, scary, just like exhausting to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend $500,000 or $200,000, or I'm going to wire my money over to this person. And I don't know. Well, take the time to do the due diligence so you feel confident to do it. Don't give in to the high pressure tactics of, well, you only have 24 hours and you have to do it, right? Or the deal goes away, or well, then great, let the deal go away. It's not the deal for you. The right deal will come at the right time within the timeline allotted for you. So when you're ready, make the decision and just stay away from the high pressure tactics. I know, like even buying a car, right? They want to push you, push you, push you, push you. You make the decision when you're ready. And if that means you never make the decision, well, I mean, that's on you and only you. You need to make a decision when the time makes sense for you, right? So, item number 6, use secure payment methods. Wow. Did you know that the FBI has set up a whole fraud department to help against people wiring funds and stealing the wired funds from people who just were like, I didn't know. I just wired my funds. I wired them where they told me to go. And then all of a sudden, you're out the money. It is a huge problem. It's a document you sign now when we're working these transactions. And so there's all kinds of parameters, steps set up to help secure your money when you're doing this. But I'm going to remind you, never, ever, ever, ever send your funds to someone without verifying all the details. I remember my first year in real estate, I had a property up for rent. And I'm sorry, I had the property up for sale. Well, I had someone call me and they're like, Lori, I'm supposed to pick up the keys from you because I just rented that house. And I said, hold on, wait a minute. No, 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 no. This house is not for rent. It's only for sale. And he goes, but I just sent $5,000 to someone. So you're supposed to give me the keys so I can rent it. I said, I am so sorry. I am the listing agent on this. And whoever you sent that money to just defrauded you. And that happens. Oh my gosh, rental properties are so scary. The government really needs to figure out a way to better mandate that situation. And the reality is, you need to be cautious, cautious, cautious. Use extreme caution when sending out money. Another great example of this, my sister-in-law is also in the business. She does commercial real estate. She's an escrow officer. She's been doing it for years. She caught a moment in her escrow office as well, where she got an email from someone that said, hey, the account number where you're wiring, she was going to be wiring out like over $1 million. Anyways, the account number has been changed. So please wire the funds to this. Well, my sister-in-law, she's a smart cookie. And she figured it out. She was like, that just doesn't seem right. So she called the lender to verify the account number and verify the details. And yes, someone had hacked their email, copied everything, stole their identity, and sent out a new account number just so they could collect that $1 million and run. Thank goodness your licensed professional who's doing the deal on the back end is paying attention and not just going through the motions. Make sure you hire someone who's paying attention. All right. You want to make sure you're using secure payment methods. Now, item number 7, check property history. Make sure you're talking to the right parties. Remember, I mentioned just recently how someone had said they just wired $5,000 to this person. That person had nothing to do with this property. You will be able to clearly figure out who is the listing agent that represents the seller, who is the agent that's representing the buyer, who is who in the transaction, and are they licensed? Check the property history. This stuff is all online. You can find it all. It's public information. And item number 8, make sure you confirm the property details. Visit the property, I have one investor, I love working with him. And guess what? He buys properties all the time with me without seeing them. Do I advise him to do that? No. I always encourage him to get out there. And he's been working with me so long, he feels confident that he can do that. And I got to be real. I do send him a document that says, hey, I advised you that you should walk through this property yourself. It is a professional, we have a professional relationship that makes great sense for us. And that is what you need to have with the professionals that you choose to work with. And like I said, item number 9, put it in writing, put it in writing, put it in writing. I put it in writing that he should look at the property by himself and he knows it. And we have full disclosure. Put it in writing, email, text, document, document, document. And I'm going to close up with this. If you've got a feeling deep down inside and it's uncomfortable, report it. Report it, report it, report it. You want to make sure you protect yourself and anyone else that's involved. When that man called me and said he'd wired his $5,000, I told him, report them. You need to report them. The only way we can keep the real estate market clean of these people who do these negative things is by reporting them. So stand up for yourself and say, hey, I'm not feeling good about this and I really want to understand it. And if they still can't clearly make it help you understand, like help you understand it, you need to release or report. Report them to a broker, report them to the Department of Real Estate, report them to the Better Business Bureau. I just had a call the other day of an amazing woman who chose to work with me. She looked me up on the Better Business Bureau, and I'm there. You can find us everywhere. Make sure you protect yourself. Stay in tune. At any point, if it feels like fraud, report it.